Hey everybody, hope your weekend is going well. I'm out here on a nice little day trip in Greenwater, Washington. It's a beautiful day. We finally got blue skies. I have the fireplace going behind me, the awning up, and as many of you have already seen because of the postings on Instagram, the rooftop tent is no longer on the truck. As I'm filming this right now, it's currently pending sale, so we are soon to be parting ways with it. But that's the primary reason for this particular episode, because I want to chat with you guys about what is coming next. Okay, so many of you are probably wondering why the new setup and why the new change. Well, it's actually had boiled down to basically two different items, but they are instrumental to me when it comes to getting outdoors and exploring. So the first one was livability. I wanted something that would still give great comfort, but also complement all the organization when it comes to gear management. And then the next was having the flexibility of continuing to grow as the trip dynamic changes. So whether that be quick weekend getaways to longer expeditions of weeks or even months, I wanted to have that ability to, no matter where we are in that given time, have the option to complement those different style of trips. So I've done a lot of research. I've looked at a lot of different manufacturers as far as what the next setup could be, and ultimately it boiled down to a couple items. The overall cost, because it is definitely an investment, so this is something I want to try and get right the first time. And then the overall weight savings. A lot of these items that you have out there that are the canopy tent style setups, weight does become a factor, so I wanted to ensure that we are being as efficient as possible with that, and then ultimately still having, again, the flexibility to continue to grow but have the livability factor of having comfort in all our trips. So before I lost service today, I did take a screenshot of what that next setup is, but I'll go ahead and announce it. It is going to be the Go Fast camper tents. And the screenshot that I have that I wanted to share with you guys, if this thing will focus, that is the current leaderboard of the Go Fast camper orders. And what the leaderboard is basically, before I pulled the trigger on it, I had to put a deposit down and essentially get my name in the list of the production line. Right now, if you can believe it, they are about a year out from being fully ready and available. So I put my name in, and I'm actually at the back of the line, which is okay. It gives me time to kind of dive in exactly what I'm going to be doing here, but probably early next year is when it's going to be available and ready to be picked up. And that's okay. That's honestly okay. It just shows that the company's growing. There's obviously a high demand for it, so their product is definitely reliable, and people are realizing that this is definitely a reputable manufacturer to go with. So for those of you who don't know what the Go Fast camper tents are, it's almost like what I currently have with the tent on top and then the canopy here. But what it does is that it combines both of those aspects together. So there's no wasted space of basically the roof of a canopy, and then the gap in between where the rail systems are, and then the tent sitting on top. This setup complements both of those in one. And I'll put a picture in here so for all my visual people, they can, like me, they can see exactly what I'm talking about. But basically what it does is that you'll have now the ability to have a canopy, still what I currently have, because that is definitely important to me. But I'll gain panels on three sides, so both the sides as well as the backs, and they just pop open on a gas strut, so then I can access gear right from the side super easy. but then also on top will be the actual tent itself. It's extremely small. I don't know exactly how thin it is. I think it's less than 6 inches or maybe somewhere around there. But what it is, it's the tent itself will be right on top of the canopy, but you actually climb through the truck bed. You climb through the truck bed and then up into the tent. So there's actually no more ladder. You will actually access through the bed of the truck and then go in. Now you can have a ladder on the side, but for my intensive purposes, I'm actually going to be doing the first. And I think that's going to be really cool because it will have that livable factor that you have your own living space inside of the bed of the truck. So if the weather's bad, you can do what you need to do in there. You can change in there. You have the privacy in there, because when the tent's actually open, just like how mine previously was, it's in a wedge, so it opens right up from the back. You can actually stand in it and do what you need to do. The floor is modular, so that means you can actually move the floor panels accordingly to have full height in there, and then when you're ready to sleep, you can actually lay them back down, and then you have a full surface to lay on for 2 people. And it's extremely lightweight, it's very robust for off-road, and it gives you the option of, again, utilizing the bed of the truck in an aspect that I currently can't do. So that's huge. There's a lot of different companies out there that offer those style of tents, and they're all great. I think every one of them that I came across I really wanted, because they all had a unique design to them, but ultimately they are not cheap. And in addition to the tent itself, now that I'm climbing through the bed of the truck, I realize that I need to upgrade how I'm currently carrying all our gear. So that's something that I wanted to chat with you guys, because instead of waiting for a year to make that go into effect, that's actually going to be the next setup. And I want to chat with you guys as far as what I'm envisioning to complete the whole back end redo here for our current build. Okay, so as far as the gear management that you guys keep hearing me say, this is where I wanted to chat with you a little bit more as far as what we're going to be doing in the back here. So as it currently sits right now, I have the Dometic CFX 75 fridge. I think it's the second biggest one Dometic makes. It's definitely a big fridge. That guy sits on a Dometic slide, which is nice. As you've seen me before, it just pulls right out, so you can grab what you need to grab. Adjacent to that is the storage bins. I have 2 of them usually with me, but today just one. The recovery gear, and then all the galley stuff that would sit on top of it. And that works right now for the current style of canopy and previous tent that I had. Now that I'm growing into a Go Fast Camper setup here in early next year, but now that we're going to be going into that, this is going to be needed to be updated. So for all my visual people out there, kind of bear with me. This is going to be somewhat of an imagination of what's to come, but also a layout of kind of what I'm envisioning to be. So I'm going to be getting a decked drawer system installed here in the back of the truck. So that's going to give, for those of you who don't know, that is going to give 2 pull-out drawers on both sides here that just come right out to you, and all of your gear is going to be stored in there. So what that gives you is now the ability to take primarily all the galley gear, all the off-road gear, and that sit in these 2 storage bins, and put them into those drawer systems. And that way when you climb into the tent to go into where your sleeping area is going to be, all of it is now out of your way and in conveniently and organized the drawer systems that you would be theoretically standing on, which is huge because that gives you the ability where you don't have to climb all over things and rifle through things when you need it. Everything will have a place, everything will be more secure and much more organized. So I'm extremely excited to get that installed. That particular setup is going to be coming here in a few weeks, so I'll have that in the back of the truck in no time, which is going to be nice because that will then puzzle piece to the Go Fast camper come early next year. But having that drawer system is something that I've really wanted to have for quite some time now. So that alone, even minus what the next setup for the tent's going to be, has definitely been on my wish list. So pretty darn excited for that. The second thing that leads to is what to do with the fridge. Now theoretically I could still have the fridge there, but maybe on a pull-out drop-down slide, because the deck drawer system will sit about 12 inches tall. So you really don't want to just have a slide that just comes out. You would want a slide that could come out and then drop down, especially for height challenge people such as myself. So I could have it there and still utilize that aspect, or what I'm more so envisioning is actually taking it off the slide. I know, taking it off the slide, putting it against the back canopy window, and what that's going to do is that will give you all, 3-4 feet of the entry into the bed. That will give you all that livable room. So you remember me mentioning that earlier. I'm all about livable space, maximizing every inch that I can here in a 5-foot bed. Having the fridge back there will then give the entry room into the Go Fast camper tent that much more room and walk around space essentially. So you would be climbing onto the tailgate, onto the decked drawer system. All your gear would be underneath that, and then the fridge would be tucked back there completely out of the way. So when you do need it that 3 or 4 times a day, if you are one to get a snack or ice cream out on the trail, if you have the freezer turned on, you're able to do it. It's not a big deal just to climb in there, as long as all the other gear surrounding it is organized, and that is exactly what we would be accomplishing with that particular drawer system. So that's kind of what I'm envisioning. I think it'll be really good because everything will have a place. Recovery gear on one side, galley gear in another, fridge in the back. That's going to then be hooked up to a battery, so it will have power management there, and it will give you that ability to still access the tent with the Go Fast camper through the bed of the truck, having everything out of your way, and you can still hang out in there with all the panels open. They do open on all the sides, and they have what's called the Cabana Mode, which is pretty cool. So on a nice sunny day, you could theoretically just pop open the tent, have the headroom, and then hang out inside there. Whatever you want to do sounds good to me though. But I really think that setup will be really, really nice, and it will give you the flexibility of no matter what trip that you're going on, no matter what gear you're bringing, everything will have its place and everything will be organized and much more robust for the off-road abuse. I know with the current storage drawers that I have, things get shifted around and slopped all over, even with strapping them down. So having it in a drawer system will be really nice. But those are just the thoughts as far as what I'm kind of envisioning and wanting to go towards. So I'd love to hear your guys' comments. I'd like to make this interactive with you guys as far as what you think. If for those of you who have gone through setups similar, what you liked, what you didn't like, let me know. I mean, obviously nothing's set in stone, but that's just kind of what I've envisioned through all the trips that we've done that could make things a little bit tighter, more convenient, and much more organized. So pretty darn excited as far as what we're going to be growing into. So my apologies if this episode involves so much talking, but I just know that I wanted to answer some questions for those of you who have seen my posts on Instagram mentioning that the tent has been up for sale. The tent is currently pending sale, and also seen postings without the rooftop tent on it. So I wanted to just make sure that everybody knew what is going on, the direction that we're wanting to go, and then also the announcement of putting a deposit down on the Go Fast Camper. So again, in time to get everything set up, the canopy will be up for sale, but that probably won't happen until later in the year, which is still nice to hold on to it while we're in between, because I'm still really utilizing a lot with the awning on there, having it attached on the canopy with the cross rails, and then also having the Max Tracks mounted onto the cross rails. So gone are the days of putting muddy, nasty Max Tracks in the back of the bed of the truck. So that's gone, that's taken care of. We're able to utilize that free space on the other side to just host the Max Tracks there, which is nice. So that is going to be what we're primarily running here for the remainder of this year. As some of you have seen on the stories on Instagram, how I'm going to be sleeping now. Basically what I'll be doing for solo trips, when it's just me, actually fit in the back seat of the truck. So I have all my sleeping bags, pillows, a little hammock that goes across the front and back seats that kind of creates a more seclusive little sleeping environment. When I'm on solo trips, that is what I'll be utilizing. When Karina's with me, when we have both of us together out on a trip, we'll just simply be using a ground tent, which is just fine, because honestly that will be something good to just go back to for this entire year, just to prove that, you know, if you want to get out and want to explore these areas, you don't need a rooftop tent to do it. It's just an added tool and an added comfort for your particular setup. So we'll be utilizing a ground tent for all of you who may be curious about that. But I think the direction that we're going into, it's going to be really nice. It's going to be well worth the wait, but in the long run, it's going to give us that ability to really dial in the back of the truck and get the setup where I'm kind of envisioning it, and where I think we will really maximize all our space. So with that, I'm getting a little cold. I'm going to go sit back in front of the fire and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. For everybody else, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Got to get out and explore a little bit with our nice weather that we're slowly getting back into here in Washington. But hope you all had a great weekend, and we will see you on the next episode. Take care.